Hi everyone, it's me. I'm in my living room and I'm going to read you A Perfect Day for an Albatross. Some of you guys have the book. It was donated to my Ocean Explorers students from the Pacifica Sanchez Library for all of you to enjoy. And it's by Karen Lobel Fried. I always say her name wrong. Karen Lobel Fried. And she's also the artist of this beautiful book too. I gave some of you a coloring page, a couple coloring pages if you want to color while I read the book. One of the pages I left the frame blank, so if you notice in her book, she made pretty patterns and some ocean themed designs around the frame. If you want to do that, you can do that also. So this is about an albatross, a seabird. I wake before the sun is up. I feel the warm egg beneath me. My neighbors sit on their eggs, sometimes quiet, sometimes clopping their beaks and warning at anyone who comes too close. I am Malie, a lace and albatross, and I have come to this coral and sand island called Midway, where I hatched many years ago. The air is warm and still. The albatrosses around me are preening or dozing or just sitting still. The sun is now rising up above the horizon. It is a new day. Not far from here, when I grew old enough to fly for the first time, I looked at the ocean and spread my wings. I ran and felt the wind beneath my wings lifting me up and up. Suddenly, I was no longer over land. The rolling, splashing, wet sea was beneath me. I learned to land on the ocean, catch squid, and find flying fish eggs to eat. Then run across the surface of the sea and take to the sky again. I explored for years, traveling across the ocean, the smells and signals from the sea telling me where to find food. Picture. Then one day, after 4 years at sea, I felt the urge to come back here to Midway, the land where I was born. You can hear some talking in the background because we're all doing work in the same house. So here's the picture. When I returned, there were many albatrosses all around, some sitting on nests, some dancing, some wailing, grunting, and bill quacking. I had seen dancing when I was a youngster, so I joined a group of other young albatrosses. Together, we stumbled through the movements and sounds. It would take more practice to do all the right moves to sing and dance well. I flew off to sea again, but returned the next winter and for many winters after that to meet other albatrosses and practice the dance. So they dance. I hope to show you a video of them dancing. Here's a good picture of them dancing. Each time I returned, I was excited to join the dancing and practice. My whistles, horns, and wheezy screams. One year, as I walked near a male albatross named Kumukahi, he bowed deeply, inviting me to dance. He whinnied and shook his head, then watched as I faced him and rattled my beak. We bobbed up and down, stood up high on the tips of our toes, dipped our heads, and sparred with our beaks. We bobbed and circled slowly around while facing each other. He preened the feathers above his wing and rattled his bill, making muffled sound in his feathers. I tucked my beak under my wing and honked. And then at the same moment, we stood on tiptoe, stretching our heads as high as we could and pointed to the sky. With his beak a little higher than mine, we called together, "Ow!" After so many years, Kumukahi and I still dance whenever we first see each other. We have made our dance perfect, made it our own. After searching alone for food over the great ocean all summer, when winter comes, we arrive back here within hours of each other, and then we dance. So they have their own dance. And that's how they recognize each other, by their dance, because they both know it, kind of like a secret handshake. If you have a handshake with your friend, you have your own personal handshake, and then you know that's your friend. let's see. I stand moving our egg gently with my beak. I say, all is well. I settle back down, wiggling my body to nestle the egg beneath my warm belly. A breeze ruffles my feathers. It is cooling and welcome. I turn to face the breeze, and it smooths my ruffled feathers. I reach for a beakful of damp sand and press it in along the rim of the nest. I pull a few dry strands from a nearby clump of bunch grass and tuck them into my nest. Beneath the bunch grass, under the sandy soil, a petrel rests in her nesting burrow. A young albatross named Ahu Nui walks up and stops in front of me. He reaches towards me, and I tilt my head. He gently preens the feathers on my face, around my eyes and beak, those itchy spots where I can't reach. Ahu Nui sits next to me, and we visit together for a while, preening in a friendly way. Then he stands and wanders off. Our visit is over. I have been sitting for many days. It is hot, dusty, and dry. But now rain begins to fall. Droplets beat up on the dark feathered backs of my neighbors. Many of us tilt our heads back, clopping our beaks as we taste the fresh water falling from the sky. I stand and preen my back feathers. Then I circle around slightly, shift my egg, and settle back down, rocking my body until the egg is secure and warm. The rain gets heavier. Rough gusts of wind ruffle my feathers, and the sky turns dark with storm clouds. I hear the boom, boom, boom of waves crashing on the beach. Above the grasses and leafy plants around me, I can see the tops of those distant big waves and some albatrosses flying away. I sit tightly, spreading myself over the nest, protecting my egg from the driving rain and wind. Let's see the picture. The storm passes quickly. The ocean is calm again, and the dark clouds are gone. It is midday, and there is a blue sky and bright sun above. Tired, I turn my head back, tuck my beak into my shoulder feathers, and close my eyes. I'm dozing when I feel the air go swoosh right next to me. I open my eyes to see my mate, Kumukai. He leans towards me, and we touch bills. He preens the feathers on my head. I tilt my head so he can scratch the itchy places. He sits next to me, very close. He tries to push me off the nest, but I do not want to leave. I want to stay and keep our egg warm. I stand to shift our egg a bit and then sit again. Kumukahi preens my feathers some more. He is gentle, but he keeps leaning into me, trying to inch his way onto our nest. I stand, and this time let him nudge me aside. I watch as Kumukahi talks quietly to our egg. Eh, eh, eh. Then he snuggles himself down onto the egg. He preens his back and wings, smoothing the feathers that got ruffled during his long flight over the windy sea. I am stiff because I have not walked for a long time. I stretch out my wings and give a good shake. I hobble to a nearby clump of grass and pull off a few dry strands. I toss them with a flick of my head to where Kumukahi can reach them. He picks them up and tucks them in along his body. He clops his beak 2 times. I lift my head and say, "Moo." She says moo. Then, as I go to get more grass, I suddenly feel thirsty. I look toward the sea, and it calls me. The feeling is so strong to go, I don't even look back. I face into the wind, and suddenly I am in forward motion, running, wings outstretched, tap, tap, tapping my feet on the flattened sand. Faster and faster I run. The wind, the lift, and then I am in the air. gliding and flapping a bit, but now I am over the ocean and the wind lifts me. I soar. With the reaching, outstretched wings, I turn my body to one side, then roll over to the other side, rising up on the wind over the rolling swells. Then down I sweep into the water valley, the tips of my wing feathers skimming the surface. I catch the updrafts, and back up into the sky I fly. It would be amazing to be able to fly. It would feel so good and so free and so cool against the wind above the ocean. I see a group of birds floating, bobbing and bathing, and I glide down to join them. With my webbed feet out in front of me, I touch down while pushing the water away, making a smooth, sloshy landing. I take a long drink of refreshing water, and then preen and clean myself. Shivering and shaking my wings in the water, I wash away the dust and mites. Rocking back and forth, I use my wings to pull water to my underside, cleaning my belly feathers. Then I take another drink of water. So I don't want you guys to drink seawater. Birds, the albatross, can drink seawater because they have a special a special organ to remove the salt from the water so they can drink seawater. We don't have that organ. So you don't want to drink any seawater when you're in the ocean. I run across the surface of the sea, flapping my wings. I take to the air again. I can take off into flight on the water, not just off of the land. The wind is strong. It whistles as my wings cut through the air. I must travel far for a good meal and get there quickly so I can fill my belly and return to our nest. I stretch out my wings and glide at full speed toward the cold waters in the north. I soar in big arcs over the churning sea, over the swells and splashing waves, adjusting my wing feathers to catch the air currents. I change the angle of my wings and shoot up high into the sky, then zip down toward the sea. I turn from side to side, up and down, over and over again, hour after hour. I sail over the water through the wind. That's a pretty picture. Look at all the blue in this picture. The air is getting cooler, and I feel the chilly ocean spray. The sun is at the horizon on its way down for the night. I am near a place where warmer waters traveling one way meet colder waters traveling the other way. At this place where the water meets, I will look for food. The pattern on the ocean surface shows me where this is. Squid, my favorite, live deep in the ocean, but at night they rise to the surface. I can smell them. They are near. I land on the water and see some flickerings of light below me. I paddle my feet, moving in a small circle, stirring up the tiny light-making creatures of the ocean. Attracted to the light, squid swim to me. With my sharp beak, I grab and swallow one slippery squid, then another. I eat a strand of flying fish eggs that is attached to a small piece of wood floating by. I eat and eat, for it has been a long time since I had a good meal. A crescent moon is rising, and stars are twinkling in the dark sky. I bob and drift, moving my feet slowly through the cool water. Although I was born on land and Kumakahi waits for me there, my true home is over the sea. I spend most of my life here. Kumakahi will not leave our egg while I am away. I will return soon so he can fly to fill his belly again. I run and take to the air, heading farther north to more of my favorite places to find squid. I feel the wind in my wings and look down at the rolling sea, knowing there is good food to eat in many places below the surface. I fly, I soar over the seas, against the wind, inside the storms, with long, strong wings locked in place. I could fly forever, dreaming forever over the endless, beautiful sea. Today has been a perfect day. So here's a nice picture of the Pacific Ocean, Hawaiian flagle, and you can learn some different things at the end of this book. Where is Midway Atoll? What do the names of the albatrosses mean in this book? So to pronounce the Hawaiian names, it shows you how to pronounce them there. Life on the wind and sea. Raising a family. Life can be hard for an albatross. How can you help? Where can you see a lace albatross? And then some other, and then a search through the book. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed the book, and I will see you all soon, I hope. Have a good night.